everyone. Welcome to NodeRun.com, the online IDE and runtime environment for Node.js, where full stack development is 10 times more productive. In this video, we're going to use layouts to center content on the screen. Now, NodeRun provides all kinds of different layouts, from things like simple containers and panels and accordions and tabs, and even the more advanced things like a responsive layout. We're not going to get into all the different types of layouts today, but you're definitely going to get a sense for how to introduce a layout onto one of your screens and how to put widgets into that layout. Now, as an example, what we're going to use is this space right here that somehow, I don't know how it does it, but it gives you very accurate answers to your questions. So there's a database of predictions that it uses. It goes, it fetches those predictions from the database, and then gives you the right answer to your question. So just to give you an idea with how that works, let's go ahead and launch the app, and let's just go ahead and ask it some questions. Well, I thought it was accurate. This doesn't sound accurate to me, but let's go ahead and ask it maybe a few more questions and see what it says. All right, and how about this one? So you get the idea about how the application works, but the issue that we're going to resolve is the fact that all of the content is actually scrunched up over to the left side, and what we want to do is we want to center it on the screen. Now you might think that an easy way to do that is just you go back to your visual designer, you highlight your content, and you move it over to the center of the screen. Now what you've done here is you moved it to the center of the canvas, but in an absolute way. And if I go ahead and save this, and let's go ahead and refresh over here, you can see that it's not really in the center of the browser screen. So how do we really move it to the center of the browser screen, no matter what the browser size is? So the way to do that, the better way to do that, is to use layouts. Now, I'll first tell you that each one of the widgets has this option to where you can right click it and you can say center it horizontally. And when you do that, it will actually use percentages to calculate the proper centering for that widget. But we don't want to do that for every single widget. So what we really want to do is we want to center all of the widgets together, and that's what layouts are used for. Now you may have seen layouts, or you may have already used layouts if you've used things like panels within these widget sets. So things like these panels, or even things like the tab panel layout. Those are all using layouts, but they kind of all have a visual aspect to them. Here we're going to use a layout just to group the widgets, so we don't really need a visual aspect to them. We just need a simple container. And you can find that under all widgets. So if you go to all widgets and you scroll down to the layout section, you can find something called a simple container layout. So I'm going to go ahead and put that onto the screen. And the simple container layout doesn't really have a visual aspect to it, but within the visual designer, you're going to see this dashed border that represents it. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make my canvas a little bigger, so we have a little space to do our thing, and we'll make this simple container a little bigger as well. And then I'm going to highlight all my content, all of the widgets that I'm using here, and just move them into the simple container. So we've got that set up. We'll resize it a little bit. And so now when I use the option to center horizontally, I'm using it on the layout itself. Let me make sure that the layout is highlighted. So center horizontally is going to be used on the layout itself. And if I go ahead and save this, and actually before even launching it, let me just show you that as I resize my canvas here, it automatically is centered on the screen. And of course the same thing is going to happen when I launch the application. You can see that everything is centered on the screen. And if I were to resize my browser, the content is still going to stay centered, as you can see. And this is exactly what we want. So that's all that it really takes to use layouts to center your content. But there's one more thing that I want to show you, and that is if you go back to your visual designer, you kind of have to be careful, because if you were to nudge this layout just a little bit, it's no longer in the center and it's now back to using absolute positioning. So let me undo that and show you the secret to solving that problem. So what you want to do is you want to right click it. Once it's set in the right place, once it's centered horizontally and you set it the right way, just go ahead and lock it in place. So you select this lock in place option. And another advantage that this gives you is that now when you're within the layout and you're highlighting things, you're no longer selecting the layout itself, but you're highlighting and you're selecting the widgets within the layout. So that's an advantage. And just to show you that if I didn't have that, so if I didn't have this locked, so let me go ahead and unlock it, and I try to do the same thing where I was highlighting things, I'm actually, what happens is that I'm actually moving the layout itself, and that's not what we want. So with that, you now have a basic idea on how to use simple container layouts and how to center your application content within the browser screen.
Thanks for watching, everyone. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you have a NodeRun space that you'd like us to feature, or just an idea for the next NodeRun video that you'd like us to create, simply comment below with your idea or a link to the NodeRun space.